Straight up, this is the hardest fight on the card for me to get a read on. We've got Canada's Felicia Spencer, the Phenom, the former Invicta champ, taking on the Immortal Matt Brown. No, it's Norma Dumont. And for Norma Dumont, she weighed 139.5 pounds for her last win. She fought Ashley Evans-Smith. She pieced her up. She looked amazing. I think we had Evans-Smith in that one. But to me, and Matt, we talk about it, fighters need to level up. For Norma Dumont, coming into the UFC, what was she, 4-0, taking on Megan Anderson at 145, and she had a lot of time off, big layoff, long layoff. Got hit by that right cross, got finished, kind of gross. So then she moves down to 135, and you think, well, what do I have here? Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu brown belt. She's got a background in Sonda. You like to see that, kind of neat. Not a discipline you hear about every single day in high-level MMA. And Norma Dumont looked great in her last fight, but again, weighed 139.5, so you got to rein it in a little bit. She was supposed to take on a very short notice replacement in her last fight this spring in Erin Blanchfield. Blanchfield came in. Blanchfield made weight. She's a flyweight, but she moved up to bantamweight. You get the drift. And Norma Dumont again weighed in 139.5. Now, I talked about it in the video, how the weight cut was a bit of an issue, but the pictures on Instagram look great, so I'm not that worried. Apparently, I had to kind of be a little skeptical there and a little bit worried about the fight. So Dumont now moving back up to 145, taking on Felicia Spencer, former Invicta champ. Very good grappler. You saw that in her fight against Megan Anderson. And if you want to play MMA math, which is the dumbest math to play, Spencer beat Anderson, Anderson beat Dumont, Spencer beats Dumont, but it's not really that way.
I mean, I think it kind of will be that way. Here's the weird thing for Norma Dumont. I don't know what she looks like against the top level of competition, because really, you lose to Megan Anderson. She's kind of like, remember when Mario Hezonja dunked on, like, Giannis, and the Knicks showed that over and over and over again? Norma Dumont's kind of like Megan Anderson's, like, one highlight, where they were just scrapped. They were like, okay, what can we show positive for Megan Anderson before the Nunes fight? And they just kept on showing that right hand over and over and over. And that's really the only performance I can go off to judge how Norma Dumont's going to look in this fight, because this is her only other fight at the featherweight division. And this is a really tough ask, because I know Felicia Spencer can at least be competitive with really good fighters in this division. I know she's lost to Cyborg. I know she lost to Amanda Nunes, but the Cyborg fight was a really good fight that was back and forth. I'm not going to advocate she even won rounds in that fight, but she had moments, and she did cut open Cyborg with a Superman elbow, so that's going to be worth something. And then, yes, she gets outclassed by Amanda Nunes, but at least you must have good cardio if you're going that long with someone like Amanda Nunes. And yes, Felicia Spencer got outclassed on the feet, but again, I think not getting finished by Amanda Nunes deserves a medal in the UFC at this point.
Well, that's why they gave her the belt for the picture.
Yeah, exactly. They did give her, that's true. They gave her the belt, and I don't know if Nunes had her daughter yet, so maybe Spencer could have held her, but still, she did get thoroughly outclassed in that matchup, and I do think that that fight is clouding people's judgment going into this fight, because at the end of the day, I don't think Norma Dumont does anything better than Felicia Spencer, and I definitely don't think she does anything better up at 145 pounds. I've seen Felicia Spencer run through Invicta, run through the only other really decent fighter at 145 in the UFC, and then lose to two all-time greats. So right now, I know Felicia Spencer's like, you're better than an all-star, but you're worse than an MVP. You're just kind of stuck in this middle tier by yourself. And it does suck for Spencer, because she's the only fighter in this division who doesn't have a belt around her waist. But I don't see anyone beating her at 145 other than Amanda Nunes.
Well, she was supposed to take on the former boxing champ. That's the other thing. I mean, Norma Dumont coming in on short notice for this one. It was supposed to be Danielle Wolf.
Who?
You know, 1-0. The one on Contender Series in her pro debut. Started from the bottom, now we're here. Now, people didn't like you singing that last week, but I'm going to do it right here because we're Canadian. But I look at this fight, Matt, and for Felicia Spencer, I have a hard time. She beat Sarah Farron. Sarah Farron, good boxer, also couldn't make 135 when she tried recently. Zero takedown defense, zero in terms of offering up any resistance on the ground. Spencer looked good. Spencer looked great against Megan Anderson. It's really tough to get an overall look at this one. If you're looking to place a bet on this, I shake my head at you, and you probably shouldn't. If you really do look into it a little bit more in terms of the odds, maybe it comes as a little bit of a surprise. I mean, Felicia Spencer opened up a -350 favorite. She's -163 right now.
I disagree with you on don't put. I gotta be honest, I like Felicia Spencer quite a bit in this matchup. We don't do locks or anything like that, but again, Norma Dumont has been able to get outstruck by fighters who I think are decent. This fight really comes down to, do you think Norma Dumont can outstrike Felicia Spencer? And do you think Norma Dumont can defend the takedowns of Felicia Spencer? Because I certainly don't. I think Felicia Spencer's the much better wrestler out of these two, and that's what this fight's gonna come down to. Can Norma Dumont submit her off her back? Well, probably not. It's really, really hard to get submissions off of your back, especially against top-level grapplers like Felicia Spencer. So I honestly don't even understand why the odds have adjusted themselves to become this close. Were they open when she was like a minus 350? I'm kind of surprised the odds still aren't there. I'm not saying better all the way until there. I'm not Yanni the Greek or anything. I'm just surprised the odds are as close as they are.
1,000 votes on Tapology, 91% Spencer, 53% by submission. It's the wrestling of Spencer, it's the striking of Dumont. And from what I saw of the striking of Dumont in her last fight, she looked great. She really did look good against Ashley Evans-Smith. Like, it was a good performance. So I do have hesitation on this one. Again, I do see why the odds are where they're at right now. So I do disagree with you. I agree with the pick, but again, yeah, that's a tricky one. Like, you got two fighters.
Felicia Spencer was the Invicta champ at 145. Norma Dumont is doing this on short notice, guys. Felicia Spencer's so much bigger. She's the better wrestler. Again, I don't understand why there's any argument to this.
I mean, Dumont's tall. We're both going with Felicia Spencer, but you do you in this one. It is an interesting fight that we have on this card. Matt, our main event. Rafael taking on Cody Garbrandt. Can't wait for it. Let's keep it locked in with Fight Night picks, as we always say. Let's get into it.